glad that Unk shut this down because these folks have no shame. These people are literal bloodsuckers. They already took everything. Everything he could offer them, they already took it and threw him to the curb. And they still trying to suck up his new, like his new motion? Like, y'all already took all the motion y'all can. He got some new motion on his own, and y'all still trying to take that motion too by trying to link yourself to him? Knowing damn well he don't rock with y'all? This is just sick, man. Now, there's a lot of people from my last video who was telling me, man, I don't feel sorry for him. I told him so. Man, Flacco, man, bro, I don't know why you feeling sorry for this dude. Man, we told him so. He told us these are some good white folks, and we got to mind our business, so I'm minding my business. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he said these folks was not scamming me. These folks was not doing me wrong. You've never had a homie, you've never had a friend, you've never had somebody who you've had a lot of trust in who let you down? So I'm not taking offense to this man doing that interview with these folks and telling us to mind our business and stop being negative. I'm not taking offense. He at the time thought they weren't finessing him. He at the time thought they weren't scamming him. And then he's seen them trademark applications and seen these folks ain't just go for one patent, they went for multiple. You honestly can't see how you can go from trusting somebody to no longer trusting them when you look online and seeing they filed multiple trademarks for your name. And not just one trademark, they filed this for t-shirts and hoodies, which is merchandise. They filed this for online ordering services in the field of a restaurant takeout. So homie can't even do DoorDash from his food truck if he wanted to, because these folks are trying to take everything that belonged to him. So no, I'm not mad at it, right? Now, the Joe Budden podcast did discuss this on their show. And when they discussed this, you know, they weren't really too empathetic towards Unc.
Everybody knew that was going to happen except for Uncle Tendernism.
Oh.
And then when we tried to tell Uncle Tendernism that this is what was going to happen, he showed out.
Yeah.
He said, "That's my man. This is my white brother.
Them good
he would
white
never
people around
good
there.
white."
Them is good white
That's
people.
exactly what he said.
Us a sick master get a cold and I will get a cold. He old though, you know.
That's what I'm saying. The older people with the good hearts, and they with who they with, and that's it. You can't tell them nothing about these
He
people.
come from a different generation anyway, but I feel like no matter what, we will bend behind his old ass and we will help him out. But we all knew that was gonna happen. We did. We seen the setup, you know.
So Uncle Tendernism, which is the older black gentleman who popularized the Destination Smokehouse restaurant out there in Cali somewhere, and that's a white man that owns it, right? And that white man trademarked the name tenderism. Tenderism, whatever it is.
Tenderism.
And people tried to tell homeboy, hey, he tried to trademark this 3 different ways without including you. You might want to just be careful. And the older gentleman was like, no, I'm getting paid. That's my man, it's fine. So now word on the street is that they've split up. Old Mr. Tendernism is not working with the white man, even though the white man is still publishing videos on his page to make it look like they are.
Of course.
I have not fact-checked this, but the older gentleman is saying, hey, y'all can follow me on here, which is his own socials now. He's calling himself the original Mr. Tenderism. And he might actually be using tenderism now instead of tendernism. But yeah, he's got people offering to open up restaurants for him out in Houston that he's negotiating currently, and he's showing us all this on his socials.
That's good. Hopefully, White Boy Roy didn't get the recipe. Because once you got the recipe, it's a wrap.
That's not true. Not necessarily.
You
You can give someone all the recipe in the world. They ain't got the sauce.
Right, yeah. And the selling is him. It's him.
Bar.
It's the fact that he's this older guy doing barbecue. So that my word would be he just get himself in another bad deal because he don't know what the f- he
Fam,
doing.
once you scale anyway, the man not going to be at every single restaurant every single night.
True. Yeah.
So I had to teach somebody how to do what I'm doing.
We have to allow grace. I don't think this is a time for, aha, I told you so. I think this is an old dude who got effed over, who got done bad and wrong. Now, all the signs were there. We try to warn him. He shoot us off. But this ain't the time to say, aha, I told you so. No. This is time to use this as a learning lesson. You see what happened to Uncle Tenderism? Don't get your happy ass used like how he got used. It's a learning lesson, but it's not a time to say, aha, I told you so. Or, man, I ain't offering no support. Man, listen, man, when I tried to offer support, he was like, you know, like, mind my business. Nah, man. Now, I don't feel like Unk will get finessed again from my perspective, because I do feel like the team around him is, for the most part, at least smart. Because, and here's how I know they're smart. When Unk announced that he was on his own, he not only announced that they were going to do the restaurant thing, but they also announced he was going to turn it into like a Keith Lee. He was going to be going to different barbecue spots and testing out their barbecue and rating it and showing them how to add more flavor and sauce. So just the very fact that he's now like launching his restaurant, his food truck with an independent series, shows me the people around him know what they're doing. And we just gotta wait, man. But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think, man? Do y'all believe that Destination Smokehouse is going to regret getting rid of Unk? Let me know, okay? And if you're still watching this video and you want to watch another good video, click on this video right here somewhere on my screen, here, or here on my screen, to find out what exactly happened at the Marathon Burger that led to somebody getting killed and multiple people getting shot. I'm gonna see you guys in this video somewhere on my screen. If you enjoy my content, click the hype button below this video. Send me a hype to my videos. Hypes are how you push my videos in the algorithm for me. So if you support me, please send me a hype. I really appreciate it. You get 3 hypes a week. I'm gonna see you guys in this Marathon Burger video. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Over the weekend, information started to leak out online around Cory Barlog's game within Sony Santa Monica, and then we basically found out the entire direction of the game, but there's still a lot of questions around exactly what they're going to be doing here, and we'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about Pokemon Day. That happened, of course, last week, and the reactions have been going crazy over Generation 10 Pokemon and exactly what they showed. And then we'll also be talking about PSSR, the upscaling technique for the PS5 Pro, because Sony decided to surprise everyone on Friday and announce that not only is it coming out next month, but there's a game right now you can check it out in. All that and more. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members for the channel do get Newswave early. If you would like to learn more about that, click the join button or link in the description down below. And we're going to start today with Bluepoint and FromSoft and a report that was dropped on Friday. A lot of stuff happened on Friday. Jason Schreier, though, issued a report kind of going over some of the fallout from the entire closure announcement for Bluepoint and what they were doing basically in their final year. And yes, the big highlight was that Bloodborne was pitched again, a remake, and it turns out Sony was okay with it because the money made sense, the numbers were there, and the math was mathing then in that case. But FromSoft said no, and this has now led to a newfound speculation, because before it was, okay, was it Sony or FromSoft holding it up? Well, apparently it's FromSoft, so why is that? And that's kind of where we are now, with some thinking that, okay, well, maybe FromSoft wasn't as thrilled with what Bluepoint did with Demon Souls, or maybe as a studio, they want to make sure they are laser focused on working to put out a Bloodborne remake and not necessarily pass it off completely to Bluepoint. Either way, though, at least we know those details, but at this time, Bluepoint seems to still be heading for closure. I say seems because one other part of that article did mention that other publishers are calling about Bluepoint, so who knows what could happen going into March, but we will have to keep our eyes on this one. Also, the Marathon Server Slam did happen over the weekend, and we, of course, were able to see how the numbers were going on SteamDB, and that was a pretty big talking point. A lot of debate around how well Marathon did for a number of reasons. So, for example, you can see over on SteamDB now, it's sitting at, okay, 55,000 people playing at the Server Slam. It did peak all time at 143,000 people, and this is kind of similar, if you look at it, to Arc Raiders, how their initial beta went when they were leading up to launch. And the thing with this is people are looking more or less at the bounce rate, so people who play it and then stop playing it and don't necessarily come back, so that, say, that all-time peak is reached again a day or two later, specifically over the weekend. But the way I'm looking at it, and kind of how I was, well, I did play it a bit, and it didn't necessarily click with me completely. I'm a little concerned about how this game is going to do early on, because like the UI, the menu system is just not great at all on console. Maybe on PC it's better, where you have a mouse that you're moving around, but it's just, it was cluttered, and it was menu after menu after menu that looked kind of confusing, and you almost get lost in the UI. And then when playing the game, ammo was an issue. Didn't really find a lot of that, and didn't really run across many players either. But it does seem that Bungie is reacting to a lot of this and saying things like, hey, we'll drop more teams in. Maybe we'll figure out the ammo situation. We're going to work on the menu system. So these are growing pains that they basically have to go through while working with the community on it. So we'll see next weekend, though, when you actually have to spend $40 to get in. I think it'll have a decent enough launch. The question's going to be if people do end up sticking with it and continue to buy in down the road like we've seen with Arc Raiders. Oh, and now shifting to a game that has had big-time success on Steam DB, and that's Resident Evil Requiem, which has had just a massive launch outright, as it was selling out physically at major retailers for the different consoles with PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch 2. And if you look over on Steam, it had an all-time peak concurrent of 344,000 users. I'm thinking Capcom's gonna announce numbers for this thing pretty soon, and I think it's gonna be pretty big, like several millions of copies. So, I mean, look, the game is great. I'm playing through it. I'm more than halfway through now, and I'm gonna be wrapping it up here in the next day or two, because when I sit down and play it, it is one of those games that grabs you and just you'll lose a couple of hours in one sitting without even really thinking about it, and I'm having a blast. So, hey, good news there for Resident Evil Requiem. Probably one of the best Resident Evils that Capcom's released in quite some time. So it's good to see at least the market is saying the same thing. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Cory Barlog's secret game, because it does appear that it has leaked early. And I say leaked early because apparently it's going to be shown around the E3, the summer Game Fest time. So we're thinking May, June, July, somewhere in there. We're not too far off. But what really sparked this whole thing, kicked it all off, was a LinkedIn post that was spotted and then posted over on Reset Area, you can see. And this is from a senior writer, all right? And they were updating their profile and stuff naturally, as it looks like their time there ended September 2025 at Sony Interactive Entertainment. And they say helped shape narrative vision and creative direction at Sony Santa Monica Studio for a new franchise within the God of War universe, developing characters, storylines, and original lore that expanded the acclaimed IP. And this does appear to be linked then to Cory Barlog's game. And we already heard, according to Jason Schreier, it was a game that would feel like a new IP, but wasn't. As in, it is based in a world that Sony Santa Monica, I guess, has worked in before. And there's two. There's God of War and there's Connecticut. And as much as I thought it would have been fun to see them try to do something in Connecticut, the obvious move would have been, let's continue to build out God of War, which has only gotten bigger and bigger with each release, mainline release anyway. Certainly what's happened here with the Norse saga, how things have just skyrocketed for this franchise. Now we have the trilogy remake coming up, and with Cory Barlog also apparently telling some kind of original story within this universe. People started to speculate like crazy as to what direction would he take it, who would be the main character. Well, then Nate decided to just randomly show up and say, okay, here we go. The game is set within the God of War universe, and lead character will be Faye. Gameplay is said to differ from the Norse God of War games, with more of a focus on action. The current plan, reveal this year, release first half of 2027, barring any delay, and obviously that can happen. This is the way it is with game development. It's very fluid. And certainly with a game like this coming out of Sony Santa Monica, they have a certain quality level that they want to hit before they do end up going gold and then releasing it. Sometimes even then they push it back an extra month or two. We've seen it multiple times. But the big focus now, of course, Faye would be the main character. And that was one of the characters that people were speculating on that would have at least a path to having an entire game that makes sense to tell their story. So Faye is Kratos' wife, and I'll let you play God of War 2018 and Ragnarok if you have not yet, but long story short, there is actually a pretty large gap in time that could be filled in with Faye as the main character and you playing through it. And here's the thing with Faye, she's a giant, and she is a strong warrior who actually had the Leviathan axe before Kratos. And there are stories about her fighting with Thor and all kinds of other crazy stories. So I do think there could be a really, really interesting action-packed game that could be told here. And I wonder about the gameplay changes, because the Norse saga is much more personal, up-close, over-the-shoulder kind of action. It's slower, I'd say, than what we had with the Greek saga. So with this, I wonder if it will harken more back to the original trilogy for God of War, more of a zoomed out camera angle, much faster and destructive. That's kind of the way Faye was described throughout those games, and while it was a little different in certain flashbacks, I just think there's a lot of cool stuff that they could explore here with a story for Faye in the God of War universe. So I guess we're gonna look towards the next couple of months, that E3, not E3 time, June maybe, to have a big grand reveal for this, see how it all looks specifically with the gameplay side, and then we head into 2027 with its release. Next up, let's talk about Pokemon Winds and Waves from Pokemon Day. Now, there was a lot of stuff that was announced there, and clearly the big thing coming out of it that people want to discuss is Gen 10, but I wanted to quickly go over basically all the stuff that was announced there briefly, and then spend a little bit of time here on Gen 10. So let's start from the top, which I did like the opening. It was like a bunch of title screens from the last 30 years, and there was nice compilations they went through, and it was very nostalgic and fun to see there in one big collage. Then they showed the Game Music Collection, which is a mini original Game Boy that I thought was a Game Boy classic for at least 10 to 20 seconds, and then they showed the functionality. You swap cartridges, and it changes music. There's 45 different songs. It's already out, but go figure, it's sold out. It was going for the price of $70, and now it's more than triple that on eBay. Good stuff. Okay, then we have the Pokemon World 2026 Championships. That's in San Francisco at the Chase Center. Pokemon XP event, August 28th to the 30th. The Pokemon TCG, the Mew and Mewtwo, that's coming in 2026 with a simultaneous worldwide release. Then we had updates for Pokemon Go, Pokemon Masters EX, that's celebrating a 6.5-year celebration. Pokemon Cafe Remix, Pokemon Sleep, there are new missions out now. Pokemon Unite's getting Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno. The Pokemon Trading Card Pocket game, that's Paldean Wonders, that's out now. Then we go into NSO with the GameCube. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, that's going to release at some point this month in March. So, I mean, honestly, it could be at any point in time. You'll just see Nintendo randomly announce on their social media accounts, hey, it's out now. That's what I'm expecting since they've already made us aware that it's coming out this month. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green had a spotlight here. It's already out, but they did say that home support is planned, so good news there. And then Pokemon Champions, Scarlet and Violet, ZA, so you can go between all of those. And there's been some discussion around a few changes that have happened in this game with a bad words list apparently that was added. There's also some telemetry where they're able to track different things you're doing in the game, probably just for stats and just feedback without you actually having to say anything to them. But one of the biggest things is at the end of the game, you do get certain items that allow you to go after legendary Pokemon that you would normally have had to go out to different events with your Game Boy cartridge. So, I mean, that's actually a nice addition to have in the game. Pokemon Champions also shown here. It's out April 2026 on the Switch. Mobile will be getting its release later this year. And then Pokemon Legends ZA, the Mega Dimensions DLC with Mega Garchomp Z. You can claim the gift to encounter. And then there's Pokemon Pokopia. Or Pokopia. I learned now that it's Pokopia or whatever. So either way, though, it's out this week, and so March 5th. And they showed off a few things when it comes to the multiplayer. I think this game's gonna be pretty big, but I'm not the big Minecraft build up your town farming person. Still, though, I get it. I think it's gonna do well. But then Pokemon Winds and Waves closed out. They showed the 3 starters: Brout, Pombon, Gekwa. I'm trying to still figure out who I'm going with. I know a lot of people are looking at the Fire Dog, but Brout just looks annoyed, and that seems like the kind of energy I'd want for my entire journey there. It definitely looks a lot better than Scarlet and Violet, although the bar is pretty low for that. But I mean, let's face it, it just does. Like, this looks like a generational leap, and that's what we were expecting. With the water looking great, like there's actual waves. The draw distance looks good. Different biomes were shown: lava, forest, tropical, and it looked quite dense at each one that they showed. And then also, it's going to be underwater, it looks like. That was like the last shot that they had in the trailer. Global simultaneous release, though, in 2027. It is also a Switch 2 exclusive. That seemed to, I don't know, get some pushback online, which is weird to me because I think it also would have gotten pushback if it was on the Switch 1 as well and looked worse. I would prefer them at this point go for the Switch 2 because it's coming out in 2027. We don't know if it's early 27 or late 27. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be first half of next year. So we're probably a year, maybe a little more than a year out. But like eventually they're going to have to move on to a Switch 2 like exclusive for the Pokemon franchise. And Nintendo, I'm sure, also wants to be able to push systems out there. Pokemon is one of the biggest franchises they do have a part in. So yeah, why not try to move people to the new system with Gen 10? But Pokemon Winds and Waves certainly has my attention going into next year. That has left people wondering, what does Nintendo have in store for us for this holiday season? What's their big release? I think they'll have that one covered, and I'm still looking right now at Mario Day, just in case Nintendo has a bit of a surprise for us there, because I do feel like there will be a 3D Mario that will hold up their holiday season at the end of 2026, but we'll have to wait and see for that one. Next up, let's talk about PSSR 2.0, although Sony's not calling it 2.0, they're just calling it Enhanced PSSR, which is their PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or their advanced upscaling technique specifically used in the PlayStation 5 Pro. We've heard that there is an update coming at some point in 2026, but they decided to surprise us a bit here because there is a game that's out right now that is using this new upscaling or upgraded upscaling technique, and it's like the hottest game currently as well. Let's take a look though. This is over on PlayStation Blog. Mark Cerny put this out there saying, today we're excited to announce that an upgraded version of PSSR will be rolling out globally to PS5 Pro players in the coming weeks. We are happy to share that Resident Evil Requiem, shipping today, is the first title to use this more advanced PSSR, which is helping to keep both frame rate and image quality high. We look forward to more news in March when multiple existing games upgrade to the improved PSSR. There will also be a system software update at that time. Selecting enhanced PSSR image quality in settings on PS5 Pro will allow you to experience the new PSSR with any PS5 Pro games that currently support PSSR. Once the system update releases next month, try it and see. Some games may have noticeably crisper graphics. Mark Cerny really likes the word crisper. He says that a lot. But, I mean, I guess if you look at the image quality, yeah, Resident Evil Requiem looks crisper, or crisp. It's a very clean and sharp looking game. I think sharp is probably the word I would use to really describe it, but the noticeable difference I think is more so with the hair. So they have like the hair strand technology they use with the PS5 Pro, and you'll just see strands of hair flowing around. And PSSR, as they showed in the images in its original form, we'll say 1.0, did struggle with that, and it looked kind of blurred and choppy, whereas now with this newer enhanced PSSR, it looks a lot better. And here's the thing, the entire image itself looks really, really good. So it's something you do have to see in person, obviously, and PSSR has had a lot of growing pains to where, I'll admit, at times you look at the PS5 Pro and you go, I don't know why this thing exists, other than what we're seeing now, which is them to work on it with the help of early adopters. Yes, if you have one, sorry, you're an early adopter. And then eventually get to a position where it is in a good spot, and it shows off games like Resident Evil Requiem very, very well. I mean, it looks super impressive in action. And then when we go up to the PlayStation 6, I would assume, as we have, they say, 50 or so PSSR games that will be enhanced from this, it'll just be across the board, as that will be something that's baked into every single system. Not just, I mean, I don't say a handful of PS5 Pros, but a small section of the PlayStation user base at this time who have PS5 Pro systems. So I guess a nice little preview or window, a look into what could be possible for next generation, but it's pretty impressive. And I'll be curious to see the effects of the enhanced PSSR on other games as we get later into March when they push that update. And in our last bit of news, we're going back to God of War, but not the God of War games, the God of War Amazon series, because an image went out that apparently is our first look on set or of production for the series, and there have been some concerns around the idea of it being live action and not just animated, because obviously animators have more control over how everything looks. Well, here's the image that was put out, and it looks off. It looks very strange, and it's not just me who thought that, because everyone's looking at this going, hold on, is this even real? People are saying, oh, it looks like a bad cosplay. Some are saying it looks AI generated, and you know it's bad when that's the case. And you know what? It very well could be, because it's Amazon, it's Prime Video, it's them just putting out marketing, and maybe they're thinking, oh, we have their likenesses, we might be able to say, or ask AI, put them as Kratos and Atreus in a forest setting while he's aiming up, you know what I mean, like prompt that up. But we don't have confirmation that it is AI. However, that's not exactly great for the image they put out when people jump to that conclusion. However, when I look at Kratos, and this is Ryan Hurst, okay, and he did respond, we'll get to that in a second, but the beard doesn't look as thick, I guess, as it should, and his expression, he almost looks, I don't know, a mixture of confused and concerned, whereas Kratos just looks very scorned usually. He also has yellow eyes, and almost his entire face comes to a point right in front of him, so it doesn't look, right. I mean, Atreus, I think Atreus just looks a little too young here, although they can play around with the age and time period and stuff, I'm sure. So this could be jumping around in the timeline and stuff for the show even. And it's strange because Ryan Hurst responded, who was playing Kratos, and he said, don't believe everything you see on the internet, kids. I don't really know how to respond to that because this is from Amazon's Prime Video account. If this was an image that leaked out, quote unquote, and they're like, this is a production image that we happen to get off their servers, or someone was there and they took a picture and it's just like really, really good quality, then I'd go, well, okay, maybe it's just they were messing around, it wasn't quite right. This is an official thing that they put out. There's an entire press release that goes along with this. They have a high resolution image you can download off of their press site. So I don't know what you're supposed to believe here because it's from Amazon. So maybe the situation of it's going to look better in motion than in a still, but not a lot of confidence now after seeing this. So here's hoping they put out maybe some additional shots, because that can be done in the more immediate. It's going to be a bit until I think we get to the official trailer, and maybe that can work to alleviate some of the concerns around people who say it should have just been animated in the first place. And before we go to the comment of the day, take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked, have you played Bloodborne? 55% say no, 45% say yes. And here's the thing, I do think there are a lot of people who may even look into it if there was a Bloodborne remake, because on the PS5, it's locked at 30, and you know, obviously they could lift the frame rate cap and immediately be 60 frames. I mean, in its state at that resolution, it might be 120. Although the game logic could be broken by frame rates, it's hard to say. I know there are mods and emulation that does run at a higher frame rate, but realistically, if they're not going to do a remake, I still think the best thing they can do is like a patch to lift the frame cap, or even like a very quick remaster. I think is something where, yes, FromSoft and Sony need to eventually come to terms and figure it out, whatever is holding it up, get that sorted, and then do a big release for it with a full remake and put a lot of resources into it, because I do think it could be a game that, yes, ends up on the PlayStation 6 years and years into the future, but there'll probably be a lot of people who go, I guess I'm buying a PS6. And we'll finish up with the comments of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Tenno Swords, who says, you don't have to be remotely smart to figure this out. The second Steam said they're putting a box under your TV. And Xbox said their next box will also have Steam. PlayStation to PC ports were absolutely done. I'm sure that was something that was kicked around as, hey, if we keep moving these games to PC, the Steam box will play them. The next Xbox that runs Windows that can run Steam will play them. What does that mean for our brand and our image? Yeah, I get that. But I actually think the biggest thing, the top of the board in the meeting room, is eventually we have to compare ourselves to ourselves. The PS5 generation is going to be very difficult to overcome if we can't reach the same number of consoles sold, and it's a good chance that the PS6 is not going to be a cheap system. As in, I mean, $600, I think at this point would be impressive for them to get it to, but I think it's going to be closer to that PS5 Pro territory for price. Like $700 might be what it launches at without a disc drive. So they have to do a lot to compel people to buy into it, whether it's upgrading from the PS5, which they want to move people to it, or get people to buy in for the first time into their ecosystem, and a lot of that's going to come down to this box has games that none of the other boxes do. So I think that's where Sony is now, realizing they need to do that and continue to keep their user base high, because yeah, they can also make a lot of money off of live service games like Fortnite, but they need a significant number of people playing Fortnite or some of these other live service games on their box, in their ecosystem, to make that happen. So yeah, exclusives seems to be Sony's strategy, I think, going forward. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below, but everything we talked about here.
Hello, beautiful people. It's Mai here from Nintendo Life, and today we're reviewing Pokemon Pokopia on the Nintendo Switch 2. This review was originally written by the lovely Alana Higgs and made into a video by yours truly. I am genuinely excited to see what Pokemon Pokopia is all about, so without further ado, let's get stuck in. For some people, Pokemon hasn't been a constant in their lives. So many revisiting the franchise have been rebuilding their relationship over time. From dipping their toes back into childhood classics or trying out the newer mainline games and even spin-offs such as Legends Arceus and new Pokemon Snap, many have rediscovered their love for Pokemon. From Pokemon Pokopia, Koei Tecmo's Omega Force and members of the Dragon Quest Builders 2 team have possibly given us another one to love. Pokopia turns the act of rebuilding a life, rebuilding a world, into a complete joy, a cathartic, calming experience that, even with some teething problems, is one of the most robust and enticing Pokemon games ever. In Pokopia, you're not just rebuilding the world to make it look nice, though that is part of it. You're doing it for the Pokemon. And you're not just collecting them all like numbers in a Pokedex, you're finding out where they like to live, what they like to eat, and how their abilities help make the world a better place. Collecting Mons has long been the main draw of the series to us, but this game adds a layer of warmth to the whole process and feels fresh and exciting. The whole point of the game is to build environments to attract these pocket monsters back in the hopes of finding out just what on earth has happened. Crumbling Pokemon centers, ruined buildings, and blocked waterways now live to this uncanny familiar world, and it's Ditto's job to help put things back together by sucking up materials like a freakier version of Kirby. As Ditto morphed into an unearthly human-like creature, you can do other things by transforming into other creatures and using their skills. Starting off with a simple water gun to revitalize patches of grass, we quickly amassed an arsenal that included the ability to cut wooden trees, punch our way through blocks and terrain, and even jump like a floundering Magikarp. No daft transformation there though, sorry. Admittedly, breaking down environments block by block isn't an ideal approach. Aiming the punches up, down, or ahead of you can be a little bit fiddly, and you'll probably break a block you didn't mean to accidentally. You do get a variation of this later on, but it has some other drawbacks. But accumulating these skills gradually opens up each of the game's 4 maps for you. Suddenly, we were no longer restricted to this blocked-off woodland area of the Withering Wasteland. We could punch a hole through the
Wack 100 calls out Black Sam for the Marathon Burger shooting incident that left one person dead and multiple people injured. We'll get back to the video shortly, but I wanted to let you guys know this video is being sponsored by Kalshi. Kalshi is an app where you can make money predicting current events. I put money on what the weather is gonna be every day on Kalshi. I check the weather app when I wake up. And really all I do is I look at what the highest temperature is gonna be for the day. Then I go on Kalshi and place a prediction on what I think the highest temperature is gonna be for the day. I'll say probably 7 out of 10 times my weather prediction hits. Sometimes it doesn't hit. But if you wanna get paid by predicting weather on a daily basis, you can do so on Kalshi by clicking the link in my description and downloading the app and using code FLACO to get $10 on your first deposit. Initially, Wack will call out Black Sam for what he says Black Sam is bringing unnecessary negative attention to the Marathon Burger grand openings. The first incident he will point to is this incident with Rockstar 2800, where Black Sam is going off on Rockstar 2800, who came to get a burger from Marathon Burger because Rockstar apparently had conversations with Wack 100 on Clubhouse, and Black Sam felt like, you know, Rockstar being a friend of Nipsey Hussle shouldn't be talking to Wack 100. Wack will point out that Black Sam thought it was so crucial and so important to call out Rockstar 2800 in the moment and bring that much attention and chaos to the grand opening because he spoke to Wack. But then at the last premiere, Black Sam was kicking it with people who Wack says he speaks to, he has done interviews with, he has done podcasts with. So what's the difference, right? Wack will call Black Sam a hypocrite for that.
So for the very same thing, he escorted Crackstar across the street on. What? Talking to me. P Nice talks to me. He just did a podcast. And you gave him the first burger from the Marathon Long Beach store, and you did an interview with him. Hey, great, because I don't think there's nothing wrong with people that talk to me personally. I ain't said nothing wrong. Point out where I done said a lie. RB got me on the water diet is what it is. Okay, we move forward. If you wouldn't have never approached him and marked him out and escorted him across the street like the buster he is, then that bad publicity wouldn't have never been on the spot.
When he's right, he's right. This is picking and choosing. So Wack is referring to how he did a podcast with P Nice recently, but Black Sam didn't trip on P Nice, but Black Sam tripped on Rockstar for doing a podcast with Wack. I mean, it's picking and choosing, right? It's 100% picking and choosing. He's not wrong. Wack would go off and blame Black Sam for a lot of the negative things that's been happening at the Marathon Burger. And here's what Wack 100 had to say. He didn't hold back. He called Black Sam out directly.
That was your decision, Black Sam. You intelligent as a businessman, but you making dumb decisions. You getting to the finish line and then you pissing on the product. Why? And then I'm tripping. Every time the camera on and Black Sam is standing by the people from the mayor office or the people from the radio station or the other prominent people, you see all the ninjas trying to get in there. Yeah, look, they're security. But if you look at the thumbnail on this segment here, Black Sam is kneeling behind a car while shots being fired, and ain't none of the ninjas around. Ain't nobody like, damn, hold on. Cover Sam. I hear somebody saying, where P Nice? P Nice didn't bit back around the corner on y'all. Nigga, he was finna come out and play his part like, hey, homie, let me out, bop, bop, bop. Oh, shit, they serious. Nigga, ain't no burger worth that. I'm out of here. And P Nice, I'm glad you did. Nephew, I don't want to see you shot trying to play a role or, because a nigga gave you a free burger. Nigga, screw all that. Get up out of here. Nigga been surviving off In-N-Out and these other burgers. If that's what it is and you just ain't got to go back, cool. Or you can just Uber Eats it, you know what I'm saying? Decision making. This is all decision making. At what point in time or you gonna let the dumb stuff go, bro?
There's a few ways to look at this. Some people would say Black Sam did nothing wrong. He was escorting the 80s off the premises to prevent the issues with their enemies. But some people might say, Black Sam, you are the trophy. You're, the multi-millionaire. You're the CEO. You have Snoop Dogg there for you, Stevie Wonder there for you. You don't escort anybody off anything. You hire security and have security do it, right? You hire security for the event and you have security do what they do. If somebody is being a disruptance, you hire them and have the security deal with it. You don't deal with it personally. You don't gather up or rally a troop of guys and then offer to escort rowdy gangbangers who are actively in a hostile incident off the premises to safety. You don't do it, right? You stay out the way. So, I think that's a fair comparison, but I also think if somebody wanted to say, hey, Black Sam was just trying to keep the peace, that's also fair as well. Now, Wack 100 will call out Black Sam for what he said during the P. Nice interview, which he would also say it doesn't fall in line with the message and the brand that Black Sam is trying to portray. Black Sam is trying to portray this, we done elevated, right? We're trying to be moguls now. But during the interview with P. Nice, Black Sam says he wishes, that Nipsey Hussle Killer Eric Holder was free. Because if he was free, he personally will go ahead and get him, and Eric Holder wouldn't be alive for too much longer.
I'm gonna ask you one more question about that situation. Without saying too much, just say yes, just in or out.
Right.
The who did it to your brother, would you rather him went to jail or stayed on the streets?
I think you know that, bro. You know that answer.
Yeah.
Definitely, you asked it, so it's like I have to answer that question because I hope
I really say streets. That's it.
I
you ain't gotta go into detail.
I'm gonna go into detail just because I would hope people know the answer to that. Yeah. Like if me, I'm 1,000% wish the man was still out here.
Right.
Because the nigga would have been X'd out. But whether to go solo.
Right.
Broad day and go sit down and do all day. That'd have been the best time I could do in my life. I'm waking up every day. People ask me, would you have changed the decision? No.
I don't know why they think Eric Holder ain't got a family, homie. Everybody got a family, homie. Uncles and brothers and relatives, homies. Nigga, rolling 60s is divided. Nigga, it's some 6-0s over there still with shitty. It's a fact. It's some 6-0s over there that didn't really care about Nip and vice versa. So when you sit here and say, yeah, I wish he was out because you know what time it is. Bro, why would you say such a thing at such a grand event? You know what I would have had done to him. Are you okay? Even if that is real and the truth, why are you insinuating these things at such a grand event? So now we know Eric Holder is in the joint somewhere. So what makes you think one of his family members are homeboys ain't saying, you know what? This fool Black Sam got a bag. He might just try to drop it on the homie behind the walls by saying that. And because you got this event where you just let all the ninjas show up, all the ninjas showed up, everybody just side by side and it's cool, makes you think a mother nigga just turn your TV off on the strength of his homeboy, of his family member, because you talking about what you want to do to him. You know what I'm saying? What makes you think a nigga won't sneak up like this and be like, oh, what's up? Hey, wow. Ha, ha.
Again, when he's right, he's right. On the first basis, you don't even want to bring that energy to the marathon. If you got that energy, you keep that energy for the streets. You don't even want to bring that energy to the establishment or even put that clip out, right? Especially when you're about to launch something like your third store. That's an amazing feat. You don't want to mix up the corporate world with the street. So that's correct on that basis. The next basis is, now I'm sure Black Sam ain't concerned, right? Like I'm sure Black Sam have lost his brother. Black Sam is ready for whatever. He's ready for war. But nonetheless, though, what we learned, especially with the death of Nipsey Hussle, yo, this is LA. People is fake, right? People are fake, yo. Like, nobody is untouchable because nobody truly got your back in LA. I truly feel like the only person who truly had Nipsey Hussle's back 100% is Black Sam. And the only person who truly got Black Sam's back is Nipsey Hussle. Everybody else, I don't think, in my perspective, man, that anybody is untouchable because this is LA, man, it's Backdoor City. All it takes is the wrong person, you know, see you shopping a little too much today, and they didn't get a bag from you in a while, now they ready to backdoor you. So why to me is 100% correct, bro. This is LA, man. Anybody can get up on anybody. Yo, you put out that energy out there, man. And they start getting concerned because now there's rumors circulating that apparently Eric Holder's family crib got shot up. So once you put somebody's back in the corner, they start getting paranoid. They start thinking, oh man, bro, yo, Black Sam's still on that. Man, bro, Black Sam's still trying to get us. We got to get him first. So I think he's correct. You don't want to put out that energy, especially when you have evolved, when you are a mogul now. You want to leave that alone. Now, you can never forget about your brother's death, and I don't feel like anybody is asking for Black Sam to forget about his brother's death. I feel like Black Sam right now has elevated. He's a mogul. If the streets is going to do what the streets is going to do, let the streets do what it's going to do. But you should be 20 degrees of separation away.
Because you making threats. Bad decision making. Anybody can get in front of that camera with them glasses. Yup. But we starting to see the more you on camera, who you really are. This is why we never really heard about you when Nip Hussle was alive, because he was the brains. Because it looked to me like, nigga, you build and destroy. That's what it looked like. You are building and destroying. You talking about what you want to do to Eric Holder, you got all this stuff going on, and then the shots could have been a diversion. You get what I'm saying? It could have been a diversion to draw people that way, but the whole time it's two on you. I mean, you better wake up. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to 600 this morning. We was talking about how when the situation happened at the parking lot, you know, when your pops came out with the bat, and 600 of them took the bat from your pops and did what they did, and then you came out busted in the air. I mean, nigga didn't put his hands on your brother, nigga. God didn't do it. It wasn't the hawks, it wasn't the birds, it wasn't the clouds. Nigga, so I don't know what you saying. You said even if I would go do, I would have went and did it, crashed out and woke up every day happy about it, but shit. Big, you 6'3", 6'4", 300. Boom, boom, bop. Nip had him stretched out. You seen it, we all know. And you came out and shot in the air. You ain't do that. So I'm just saying, bro, maybe you should just, you know, life has went on, you know. There's other things you got going on, and I really think you should stop mystifying these events. This is a fact.
But I believe Black Sam when Black Sam says he would crash out if Eric Holder was free. Like, I 100% believe that. Like, I don't feel like Black Sam is just talking out there. Like, I think Black Sam would 100% crash out on Eric Holder if Eric Holder was free. I do believe that with all my might. Now, what happened with Big U, Black Sam, and Nipsey, I don't know. I wasn't there. Wack will know more about that than me, but y'all let me know in the comment section, do you guys have a problem with the crowd? He survived in headshot at Marathon Burger? Oh, pray for the city, man. The Hoovers ain't gonna play with them. We got an update on the Marathon Burger shooting that left one person dead and others critically injured, and it's worse than I thought. We'll get back to the video shortly, but I wanted to let you guys know this video is being sponsored by Kalshi. Kalshi is an app where you can make money predicting current events. I put money on what the weather is gonna be every day on Kalshi. I check the weather app when I wake up. And really all I do is I look at what the highest temperature is gonna be for the day. Then I go on Kalshi and place a prediction on what I think the highest temperature is gonna be for the day. I'll say probably 7 out of 10 times my weather prediction hits. Sometimes it doesn't hit. But if you wanna get paid by predicting weather on a daily basis, you can do so on Kalshi by clicking the link in my description and downloading the app and using code FLACO to get $10 on your first deposit. Immediately after the incident, Black Sam did everything he could to take to social media to try to dispel the rumors, try to distance the Marathon Burger from what happened.
Man, I don't know what you're talking about on the internet, man. We in here cooking fries.
Fruji. Come on, girl.
Get out of here, man.
Come on, man. We in here, man. Hold on, we fully loaded. Fully loaded. We got Stevie Wonder in the building. Come on.
That's it. All right.
I don't know where Stevie came from, but they rolled out the Blonde Men for some PR, man. But ultimately, it didn't work because the story gained national legs.
Shots are being fired right now. Shots are being fired.
What night at? Hold it.
This is a terrible look. The grand opening of your restaurant and your burger joint ends up in a TMZ article in bold letters. Shots rang out at Marathon Burger. Now, you West Coast niggas got no shame. Y'all got absolutely no shame whatsoever. Because a lot of y'all don't even have pride in who you guys are. So y'all don't care about disgracing your last name. So a lot of y'all see this and feel nothing. But Black Sam is somebody who cares about his last name. It's a powerful last name. So the fact that he's ducking behind cars as a multi-millionaire CEO because he chooses to conduct himself and to be around the people, he chooses to humble himself and still come around y'all, y'all should be embarrassed, man. Embarrassed. Now, the one positive comment out of this situation